We are going to be working on the railing baluster panels for 14 by 16 deck, an upper landing, lower landing, and a set of stairs between each. So upper landing and lower landing are the two platforms that are going to be at the top of the stairs next to the deck and halfway down the stair, kind of as your turning point around the corner. And then we are working with 10-foot elevation. And sometimes known as a walkout. So we're just gonna get our house wall in here. And we'll do the 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 feet out. And we have 4, 8, 16, 12, 16. So here is the other corner of the deck. And our landing is going to be about 4 feet wide. So that's going to be here. And it will meet the deck right about there. This landing being 4 or 5 feet deep gives us a little shorter of a stair here and makes our lower section of stairs come down a little further. Sometimes that last set of stairs ends up being only a few steps long. If you make this set really long, you only get 2 or 3 steps there. So there's our deck shape. This is 16, this is 5, this is 4, and we have 14 over here. And then, so we're going to have to figure out how many steps are going to have to come down between here and here. Our bottom of our stairs is going to land somewhere in this area because it's got to turn this corner around that corner post there. So on this deck you can do with 14-foot joists, you can make it far enough where you can do a flush beam and post on the corner, which is nice because you can use that corner post to mount this lower landing to. So our lower landing to connect onto that post is going to go about there to here. And in order for a 4-foot stairway to come down here, which is 4 feet's a really convenient size for stairs, especially with how much inside mounted railing or surface mounted railing post fits on it. It makes the width of the stair just a little bit narrower, so that but that's still wider than 36, which is a pretty common size that code will require you to have. So we're gonna go a little past 4 feet here. And this is, since these are the places that we need to have our landings, these are going to drive the lengths of our stairs. So horizontal distance from the top of the stair to the bottom is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. to get a bottom step to land here, we're at about 9 feet. And 9 feet times 12 inches per step gets us to 108. And then stairs are often built at around 11 inches deep. It happens to be pretty close to the depth of 2 deck boards. If you put 2 deck boards side by side on that step, it saves you from having to cut a whole lot. And so we will use 11 inches for our tread width. So we're going to have to do about 10 steps. And when we see 9 here, that means there are going to be 9 steps from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that will land right about where that line is. So there is the front of our bottom step. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We pretty much make our steps right on these lines. I'm going to draw the side in here. So when we have 9 steps, that's going to have to drop, let's see, it'll drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rises worth. So 9 rises, the max can be 7 3/4. 9 times 7 3/4. That's a drop of just under 6 feet. So this lower landing here is going to be at 120, which is our full height, minus 69.75. And that is 50.25, or 1/4. So we'll use this number later. That is in inches. We could convert back and forth between feet and inches, but it's a lot easier to just stick with inches, so that's what we're going to do. So we got our stair in there, and then this lower stair is going to be 4 feet wide. So just on this side of the line, 1, 2, 3, 4. Our stair is going to start right about there. And then that 50 1/4 number, that's the remaining distance that we have to drop down. So 50 1/4 divided by the maximum size that our stairs can be, or our stair rises can be per code, is 7 3/4. So we don't want to go with 6 steps because they'll be taller than 7 3/4. So we're going to go with 7 steps. So we're going to divide that. This would give us this number is not helpful to us right now, but it would give us our rise height. Divided by 7, that's going to be about 7 and just under 7 1/4. And that is only for the lower section. So that was 7 rises. So 1, 2, so this is technically our first rise, even though it's not a step, we'll have to go down once and then down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when we drop step onto our first step, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth step, that actually gives us 7 rise, even though there's only 6 steps. And we'll draw in our stair outline here and do our casual stair lines there. So now we are on to, we know where our stair is, we know the heights of each and the number of steps, and then we have our deck size. So we are going to start drawing posts in here. You can mount your railing panels to the house, but when you're working with siding and it's an uneven surface and your wall mounts may not mount anything that's not perfectly vertical, 99% of the time we just mount a post right next to the house, and that's what your rail panel connects to. It looks clean, it doesn't interfere with the waterproofing on the house, and it is still matches the rest of the railing. So put a post at each house wall, and then we know we're gonna have to have posts at each corner of the deck, and then just figuring out the spaces in between the corners is when it gets a little more complicated. So then when it comes to this post here, we need to have the post on this side of this line here because it's going to be in line with the stair rail coming down here. So we need to put a post here, but we can't use that to mount this rail to that's going to be on the deck. So we have to add another post there. So when it comes to railing panels, they are nearly always available when you're looking at metal rail panels like aluminum or steel. They're almost always available in a 6-foot and 8-foot lengths. And back when it was wood rails, it didn't really matter how long panels were because you're just working with 2x4s. But when it's metal, we have try and be as efficient as possible and split up all the distances according to getting the most of our panel and throwing away as little as possible. So when you have 6s and 8s, you will usually round down and cut off a little bit. Like for this 5, we might have to work with a 6-foot panel. And although like we sell ultra locks in panels to the nearest foot, Westbury makes 5, 6, 7, 8, and sometimes 4-foot length panels. That does end up being a little bit more efficient, but for the sake of this, we're going to go with 6s and 8s because that's what will work for nearly every railing manufacturer. So on this 14-foot side, this is where we're probably going to end up with a little bit of scrap. And you might say, well, let's take 2 6s, leave those full length, but then you're going to be left with 6 plus 6 is 12. 14 minus 12 would be a little 2-foot section here. And that is not going to look great. It might install faster, but we want to make things look as symmetrical as possible. So especially when that 2-foot is going to be either have to be a cutoff from a longer panel, or we're going to have to buy an entire new panel for that. It's just going to be easier to get 2 8-footers and trim them down to 7 here. So since we can do that in 2 panels, we know that there's going to be 2 spaces, which means there's going to be 1 post in the middle. So 1 post in the middle, these will end up being cut to 7s, but we're going to need to buy 8s for that. So for the sake of figuring out what we're going to need in our materials order. We're going to put 8-footers in there. And then on the 16-foot side, we're going to end up doing something similar here, but we're not going to have any scraps. The 2 8-footers will also span 16 feet, so we know that's going to be 2 panels. So we will put in 1 post at about the middle, and that will be another 8 and another 8. Then this side we're going to have to do a little bit of math. Not too bad, but we know that this distance from here to here is 14. So this 5 feet here is going to take up this space. And so there we're going to have about 9 feet of space. If it was 8, I would probably take a look at how much this post and this post are going to take up and see if we could make an 8 work, but we're at 9 feet, so we're going to have to split it in 2. Nobody makes a 9-foot panel. So we are going to have to put a post in the middle there. And if we have, this is 9 feet divided by 2 is 4.5. And we can, with 4.5 feet, it's not a great distance. That's when manufacturers like Westbury or us with our Ultralocks can do a 5-footer and only have to cut 6 inches off. But the most efficient thing for us to do besides that is going to be to put 6s there. You can do a 6-foot and a 6-foot. So there we go. We've got all our deck panels figured out. And these 2 posts are going to be mounted to the deck surface, not onto the top step. So this top step is actually going to be a drop down. So for example, this would be our deck. And then when we do our steps, we are not going to make our first step even with the deck, because that just adds another post that we would need to do for railing, and it just gets complicated. So we would instead drop our first step by the same distance that we have on the rest of our steps. So, and then this is where our post would go. That way our rail can go down like so. So now we know that we have our top of stair posts. We're going to have, this is actually our bottom step here. This little line here is just the back of our landing that's going to be beneath the stairs, so we're not going to worry about that. Mounting a post to the bottom step here or here can be done, but we are going to bring it down and mount it on this landing area because that makes it usable for the panel that we have to put here and here, because this is still 15 1/4 off the ground, so we're going to need railing here. So we're going to put a post at the bottom of the stair there, and then this will continue the rail around our landing to make sure that's protected and you don't come running down your stairs and shoot out the edge. We don't want that. So then we're gonna, this is where this post here, if you got a really funky stair and you haven't built it yourself and weren't able to coordinate the location of this lower stair section, you may end up needing 2 posts here, but when your stair comes down and this stair is located closely enough to it, we can put it right here and have it be in line with these panels and these panels. And then on this stair section here, the distance between this edge of this step and the edge of this step, you can use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out that distance. It's going to be close to 13.5 inches. So when we have our rail going from here to a post at the bottom, which I'm just drawing now, we don't want to put those on the ground. That's not nice to mount. We put it on the bottom step instead. So to go up that number of steps, we'll have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times that 13.5. So 13.5 times 6 is going to be 81 inches. That is just shy of 7 feet. 7 feet is 84 inches. So this is going to have to be a 7-foot panel, and that can be a 7-foot panel. But if we're working with our 6s and 8s only, we will have to round this up and make this an 8. So then this here, we know that this stair is 4 feet wide. Since these posts here will subtract a little bit of distance from that 4 feet, about 4 inches per post. If you're working with a 3 or 4 inch post, that will subtract 4 inches, and this will subtract 4 inches, which will give us a little bit of breathing room if we wanted to use a 4-foot panel. Since we can't use 4-footers and we only have 6s and 8s to choose from, we can take an 8 and cut it in half, put half here, and put the other half here. So sometimes the 8-foot panels that you'll get are going to be not exactly 96 inches, and they'll sometimes be a little shorter. So that extra breathing room we got from these 2 posts here that narrowed this to about 42, 43 inches gives us just enough breathing room to make 2 42-inch panels. That adds up to 84. Sometimes you're going to need to adjust the baluster spacing on the ends so you can have your baluster centered. So we're going to do this panel and this panel as an 8-foot. So now as we go to our long stairs here, we are going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 steps to hit this post here, which is on the landing level. So 10 steps is 5 steps and 5 steps. So we had our 13.5, which is about the distance from one step to the next, times 5 steps. It's going to be 67.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the reason we have this split into 2 5-step sections is because those are at least going to be a foot, and you can't get 10-foot stair panels, so you'd have to do it in 2 sets of panels. So going down 5 steps, we'll put a post on that 5th step and then go down 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Post on either side because we'll need panels over here. So with this being 5 steps at 67.5 inches, that's 5 foot 7.5. We should be okay with a 6-foot panel, even if it's a shorter 6-foot panel. So 6 foot and 6 foot. 6 and 6. So of our list, we have panels on all our level sections, and we have stair panels on all of our stair sections. We have posted all the corners. Every one of these panels is positioned between 2 posts, and we'll end up needing to get an extra mounting bracket hardware kit for this 8-foot that's going to get cut in half, because nearly every panel that you buy of metal, whether that's Ultralox, Westbury, Keylink, Barrett, Jam, Fortress, Trex, any of the above, they will usually come with one set of mounting hardware. One set of mounting hardware will get it mounted between one set of posts. But if you're making two panels with it, you'll need another hardware set. So level brackets, and then stair panels will be all of our stair panels will be used as full stair panels, so no extra hardware needed for stairs. And then for posts, we'll need regular height posts, which are usually going to be between 36 and 38 inches. Most of the time you'll see them as a 36-inch post and used for residential rail. So 36-inch regular post. And then when you need a post at the bottom of a stair, you have rail coming down at an angle. So let's pretend that this is my example. When you have a rail panel coming down a set of stairs, its regular height is at around 36, 37 maybe. When it comes down and hits the top of a stair, because it's at an angle, you'll need some extra height on this post, and that post is nearly always going to be a 42-inch. So that's at the bottom of the stair, or anytime you have a stair rail hitting it coming down at an angle from above. So here, these two posts, they are just in a section like this section here. So these are going to either need to be tall posts, or they're going to need to be a special kind of crossover post, which we're going to do that there. We're going to do crossovers instead of the regular tall posts. The reason we do a crossover post is code usually says that when you have a rail panel this long, it has to have some sort of continuous graspable handrails that you can hang on to as you're walking down that stair. And if this top rail is approved for the right size and shape for a continuous handrail, you can make this a continuous post that blends right into the top rail and keeps that top profile going. So there may be a cut there, the bracket may be mounted underneath or inside or outside it, but you're making this a continuous handrail and you're saving yourself the $200 or so that you would have spent on the graspable handrail going down the side. So here we're going to do two crossover posts. Sometimes those brackets come separately, sometimes they come with it. You'll just have to go by the manufacturer. Ultralock's 42-inch posts will come with that bracket, and because that's where they're designed to go. And Westbury, you'd buy a tall 47-inch post and add a stair crossover bracket. So we got two of those posts. And then for regular height, this is a horizontal rail section. It's a flat surface. This is also a flat surface. So when we get our level panels, we are doing 5 here. That is actually a 6. So 6-footers, we have 1, 2, 3. The rest are 8s. So we have 3 level panels. And then for 8s, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this is our 5th, which ends getting cut in half. And then don't forget about that level bracket set. And then we have stair panels, 1, 2, 3, 4 6-footers. And these 2 8-foot stair panels. And then when we get to posts, We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The reason I only counted these two is because none of these posts are going to have a stair rail coming down at an angle like this post here. This one's between two level panels, and this one is between a level panel and a stair coming down from it rather than down into it. But these two posts here are going to be at the bottom of this stair section, so those will need to be tall posts. So we need 2 here at the extra tall height and 2 here, which gives us 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. 1, 2, 3, 4 tall posts, 2 crossovers, and a quick double check on our panels. We have 8 here, 6 here for a total of 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that is all of our panels, extra brackets, stair panels, and posts. And if we are needing to figure screws to mount those surface mount posts into the deck, there's usually 4 screws per post. So if we have 12 plus 4 plus 2 posts, that is 18 times 4 is 72. Screws. We include those screws with our Ultralox posts, but that's something we do custom. Nearly every other panel you get is going to come with no screws, and you'll have to add those. Those are usually going to be the modern equivalent of a lag bolt, 5 inches or 6 inches long, so it can go through the decking and into the deck framing. So we have all our panels, we have all our posts, we have screws needed, we have everything we need to get that rail mounted, get those posts mounted, and as long as you don't lose anything, you shouldn't need anything else.